One of these three women ran a house of prostitution for Uncle Sam. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Jerry Copa.
Number two.
My name is Jerry Copa.
Number three.
My name is Jerry Copa.
Only one of these people is the real Jerry Copa, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Host of Let's Make a Deal, Monty Hall. Star of Mama's Family, Vicki Lawrence Schultz. Film and television producer, David Niven Jr. And temporarily unable to make her usual grand entrance, our very own Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Lynn Swann.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, panel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pleasure to see you all again. I've got to tell you, Monty.
Yes.
I have to tell everyone. You cost me $23,000.
I did?
Yes, you did. At an
What?
auction, at a sports banquet, the funds going to Cedar Sinai Hospital. You were auctioning off all these items, and there was a boat. And I didn't want to buy the boat, and you said, come on, Swanee, you got some money, you play football, buy this boat. $23,000 later.
I remember what I said. I said, you bid on it, you'll never get it. Somebody else will bid higher. You bid on it, I said, sold.
Oh, no.
I have a boat.
What did you do with it?
I still have it.
Is it in your bathtub?
No, it's not my bathtub. It's in a big lake, and I love it. So thank you, but I have to tell you, remind you of that story.
And thank you.
Okay. Let's get right to the story presented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Jerry Copa. And here is her story. Please read along with me. I, Jerry Copa, work for the United States government. In my official capacity, I serve as the madam of the Mustang Ranch, the most infamous bordello in America. The 100-room ranch, the oldest legal brothel in the state of Nevada, had fallen on hard times. Its operators had filed for bankruptcy, but hadn't made their court-ordered payments. They owed the IRS between $13 and $50 million. I'm a federal bankruptcy trustee, and a federal court instructed me to take over and try to turn the business around. In my effort to do this, I learned what really goes on behind closed doors. The ladies had to obey a dozen house rules. Our customers were given a menu, and they even offered services to go. But Uncle Sam didn't make it in the world's oldest profession. And now the Mustang Ranch is up for auction. Signed, Jerry Copa. We'll find out more about this federally appointed madam right after this. Okay, panel. All three of these people claim to be Jerry Copa, government-appointed madam of the Mustang Ranch. So, Kitty,
Well,
you
we're going
first.
to find out what we always wanted to know about a bordello. Number one, give us some of the rules.
Well, there was no chewing gum in line.
In line? What do you mean in line?
Well, when a customer came in, if they wanted to see the girls, we would ask the girls to line up. A bell would ring, and the girls would come out
And they
and line
could
up.
choose one.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And number two, what did the menu comprise? What kind of girls could they have?
Well, the menu really comprised of how they wanted the girls.
What do you mean how they...
Bagels, cream cheese, etc.
It's okay.
Warm in here.
Yes. Madam number one, let me stay with something for a second. That is that why is it up for auction?
Well, they haven't paid taxes in many years.
And how much is it up for auction for? Mr. Swann wants to know this. It's cheaper than the boat.
No, whatever we can get.
Whatever you can get. Number two, what was the name of the man who owned the Mustang Ranch?
At this time, I'd rather not say. Let's just call him Joe.
Let's call him Joe. Number three, what was Joe's felony? Why did he leave the country a few years ago?
It was, I believe it was income tax evasion.
Okay, number one, who did he kill? Or who did he have killed?
I'm not at liberty to say anything.
Number 2, was somebody killed
Thank
outside?
you, David. David.
Yeah.
Oh, Sherlock
You
Holmes.
know
Oh, you're so hard. Oh,
Put those fangs away.
yes, Vicky Lawrence. Please, David,
Lord,
settle
I just
down.
want to know, when is the auction, number 1? Well, I'm fascinated. I always wanted to be a madam. When is this auction?
We have everything tagged right now, as a matter of fact, and it will be in a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. Be there or be square. Okay. Now, what has happened to the girls, number 2?
Well, a lot of the girls went to other ranches as well as to Las Vegas.
In Nevada, you're saying, number
Yes,
2?
they did.
Okay. Now, number 3, did you just run things? You didn't participate in anything, did you?
No, I was the general manager, as you said.
And how is it that you got this job?
Thank
Oh, I want to know how she got this job.
You can talk to her after the show. Monty, they're looking for an auctioneer. Go ahead.
An auctioneer. I'll bid and I'll buy. Listen, it says here that they owe the government between $13 and $15 million. How did the U.S. government allow them to run up such a huge debt? Number 2.
We'd like to know.
All right, 1 and 2 can both answer it. 1 says,
That's what we'd like to know.
and number 2?
They just didn't pay their taxes.
And the U.S. government allowed them to get away with this for years? Number 2?
They filed bankruptcy.
I see. Number 3, the U.S. government took over this bordello, and they couldn't make it work either, correct? Why?
Well, actually, we were never allowed to operate it after I took over as trustee.
Number 1 is the world's oldest profession passé, so it can still come back, right?
Absolutely.
Good, David, you can buy it.
Thank you.
Panel, the time is up. Thank you very much. It's time to vote for either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panel is fooled completely, the team will receive $3,000. So, panel, if you've gotten all the information you need, which I'm sure you haven't,
No.
you still have to vote anyway. Kitty.
Well, number 1, they all looked really, they knew the answers, that's fine. But number 3 said she wasn't allowed to operate it as a going bordello when she got there. And I believe I don't believe the government is operating bordellos. Maybe in Nevada. Is it legal in Nevada?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Yes, Monty knows that.
Take your vote back. David.
Well, I'm not sure which of the 3 it is, but I do have a
But you're
feeling...
perspiring. That's
Yes, I'm excited. Like this. Hot in here. I think that I'm going to vote for number 2 because number 2 hedged a little bit about Joe's last name, but we will... that worked
for you.
just.
Vicky.
Gosh, now, once again, I was just sure I was right, and I voted different than everybody.
Well, they could be all wrong.
I know, and I might be right, huh? I'm sure it's number 1.
Okay. Monty?
I think that number 2 withheld the information on Joe because she didn't have a name to give to you at that time. And number 1 was giving short, clear, concise answers. I believe she took over for the U.S. government and failed to make a living with it. Number 1.
Number 1. Well, with the votes all in, number 1, you have 2 votes. Number 2, you have a single ballot. And number 3, you have a single ballot. Well, it's time to find out who the real part-time madam is. Will the real Jerry Copa please stand up? Jerry, I mean, for you personally, was that a comfortable situation to be in?
Well, it was a very difficult situation for a while, but we did try to operate the brothel. It wasn't that the government wouldn't let us. We tried, but it just didn't succeed.
Okay. Well, let's find out who your imposters are. Number 1, your name and what do you do?
My name is Jelsa Paleo, and I'm a jazz singer, and I own Big Feet Record Company.
Okay. Number 2, your name and what do you do?
My name is Roz Silbershine, and I road test sports cars.
Hey.
You road test sports cars. Oh. We'll have to ask you about tips on which ones are the best to buy.
You got it.
Thank you. Well, there were 3 incorrect votes. At $500 an incorrect vote, you'll receive $1,500. Thank you very much for playing on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back with a Johnny Carson from south of the border right after this. Welcome back to Tell the Truth. Let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Johnny Canales.
Number 2.
My name is Johnny Canales.
Number 3.
My name is Johnny Canales.
Well, panel, it's up to you to locate the real Johnny Canales, and here is his story. Please, read along with me. I, Johnny Canales, have been called the Mexican Johnny Carson. For years, I peddled my idea for a Spanish-speaking musical variety show across the Southwest. But all I ever heard was, no way, Jose. After years of discouragement and rejection, my dream of bringing authentic Latino entertainment into Hispanic homes came true. 10 years ago, the Johnny Canales Show aired on only one station. Today, fans from the Bronx to the Yucatan tune in to hear the Tex-Mex, Nortino, and Caribbean music. And now, the ratings show that non-Latinos are watching too. Most don't understand the words, but tune in for the music. Only in America could a barrio kid who grew up with no indoor plumbing become the Mexican Johnny Carson. Signed, Johnny Canales. And Monty, we get to start the questioning with you.
Well, you start off with one station, number one. What station was that?
It was KRIS in Corpus Christi, the NBC affiliate.
And number two, how many stations on the network now?
528.
How many?
528.
528.
528.
That's a lot of stations. Number three, do you do comedy on your program as well as music?
No, what we usually do is just the music.
Oh, so then when you call yourself the Mexican Johnny Carson, number three, how do you get that name when you don't have any comedy?
Well, it's more like a Dick Clark type of thing, because we have the performers, and then I interview them after they perform.
Number one, what is the number one song on the network now?
Well, it all depends on what kind of music. We have three categories. We have Norteño, Texan, Tex-Mex music, and Tropical, which is cumbia. So if you want the Norteño, you got a group like Los Ramon Ayala. Then if you have Tex-Mex music, you have like Little Joe and the Bookies on the Tropical.
I hope you all got a lot of information from that. Thank you.
Vicki Lawrence.
My gosh. Number one, where does this show originate?
It originates from Brownsville, Texas.
And number two, where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
And number three, were you raised in the United States?
Yes, I was born in Mexico, and then 42 days later, my dad took us to the United States.
And oh my God.
Vicki, thank you.
What?
Your
You're welcome,
time's
Lynn.
up. David.
Number one, is there a Mexican or Hispanic Ed McMahon on your show?
No, we have an announcer, and then I kick off the program.
All right. Number two, do you shoot it all in the United States, or do you move outside?
No, we move around the country, you know. We pick up here and there, but basically in Brownsville.
All right. Number three.
David, thank you. Kitty.
Number three, were you in vaudeville to start with?
No, not in vaudeville. I had a small band that songs.
You were a singer.
Yes.
And number two, do you have an instrument as well?
I play the guitar.
You do. And number one, were you in vaudeville? Do you have any background in the entertainment world?
Oh, I used to have a band.
And number two, do you have any musical training?
No, except the guitar, you know.
And number three, well, how big is your audience, would you say?
About 7 to 11 million.
Oh, is that wonderful? Aren't you lucky? Number two, why didn't you have
Kitty,
any?
thank you so much. I know you want to get that one question in, but time is up. Panel, time for you to vote for either number one, number two, or number three. So, Monty, who'd you vote for?
Well, I tell you, I'm going to vote for the man in the middle, for number two, because there was a wonderful, simplistic answer about him just starting with the guitar, and that's what led him on his way to be what he is today, the Mexican Johnny Carson. Number two.
Vicki.
Well, now, I'm just... 528 stations?
That's what he saith.
I know that's what he saith, but I'm not buying that, I don't think. And number one was really quick and he knew all of them, the people in India, all of those groups and everything, so I voted for number one.
Okay. David.
Well, I don't agree with either of you. I voted.
Fine.
Now, I voted for number three because when number three walked down, he had a little shift to himself and a wiggle, and he looks like he really didn't need an Ed McMahon. So therefore,
we call that a swagger.
All right, a swagger.
Yes,
Is that a football term?
Kitty.
Well, number one had an awful lot of very good information, and number two is wearing the kind of haberdashery that goes with that kind of show. But number three had the vitality And so maybe he was putting it on. Maybe he's lethargic most of the time. But I voted for number 2.
Okay. We have a vote for number 1, 1 vote for number 2, and 2 votes for number 3. Now, let's find out who the real Mexican Johnny Carson is. Here's Johnny.
Amigos, bienvenidos a su programa con su amigo Johnny Canales. ¿Cómo han estado todos? Aquí estamos. Y ahora Lynn Swann va a cantar para todos ustedes El Rancho Grande in the English language. So let's hear it. You got it, Lynn Swann.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Eso, take it away.
Muchas gracias. Yes. Johnny, have you ever approached Johnny Carson to maybe make a guest spot on your show, or have you ever been on his show?
Well, I haven't been there, but we're talking about it right now. It's the people that write, it's the paper people that, you know, compare our show to Johnny Carson and Dick Clark and et cetera, et cetera. But,
well, you know, if you want to sometime, the studio's right over there. You can sneak over and sit in his chair or something like that.
Well, I only want his money. I don't want his... I don't want all these...
I don't blame you. Let's find out who your imposters are. Let's find out who your imposters are. Number 2, your name and what do you do?
I'm Alex Rosenberg. I own a limousine company.
Terrific. Terrific. Number 3?
My name is Tim Ramos, and I'm an artist for Walt Disney Studios.
Wonderful. Lots of energy on that man. Well, there were 3 incorrect votes at $500 a vote. Your team will receive $1,500. Thank you very much for playing on To Tell the Truth. We'll be right back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience in a moment. Now it's time to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. So, Burton, who do you have for us today?
Lynn, for you today, we have Trina Rhodey from San Diego, California.
Okay, Trina from San Diego. Here's your chance to play one-on-one. I want you to meet a gentleman who has 2 stories. His name is Lyle Tello. Lyle? Now, Lyle is going to tell you 2 stories, only one of which is true. If you can spot that true story, you'll win $500. So, Lyle, what's the first story?
I'm going to ride a bicycle here on this stage, and the bicycle is in this handbag.
Okay, now, that may or may not be true. So, Trina, listen to the second story.
My entire body is covered with tattoos from the neck down.
Panel, to help Trina win $500, you'll ask 1 question about each story. Let's start first with the bicycle, Kitty.
Lyle, who invented this bicycle? Who engineered it?
It's custom made in Germany.
Thank you.
David.
How long did it take you to learn how to ride something that small?
It was an ongoing process of over a couple months.
Vicki?
And how long have you been doing this now?
For a little over 15 years.
Monty?
Do you do this as a profession?
Yes.
Okay, Trina, that's the first story. Now, here's the second story, the tattoos. Kitty?
How long did it take you to get tattooed all over?
Took roughly 10 years.
David?
In which country did you have the tattoos done?
In various countries.
Vicki?
Do you have a favorite tattoo?
The conglomerate, I guess.
Monty?
If you had to do it all over again, would you tattoo yourself all over again?
Sure.
All right, Trina, you've heard the cross-examination. Is Lyle the man who is going to ride a very small bicycle, or is he covered all over with tattoos?
He doesn't seem too sure about the tattoos. He says sort of, and I agree with him. I wouldn't do it, so I think he's going to ride the bicycle.
Okay. Lyle, what's your true story?
Tell the truth, my body isn't entirely covered with tattoos.
I'm sorry, Trina, but we do have a lovely gift for you. Take a look at Lyle. Yes. Breakaway clothes here, folks. Lyle, stand right here.
Yeah.
Now, turn around. Let them take a good look at you. All over. Look at that. Now, was that at any time, was that painful to do?
There's a certain sensitivity to it, sure, but it's nothing to worry about.
Have you ever been to a nudist colony and they thought you were fully clothed?
You know, I haven't. I've never been to a nudist colony. I'm sort of shy, you know.
The wardrobe of a shy man. Well, you win $1,000 because you stumped her, so congratulations. All right? We'll be right back after these words. The panel was terrific. We thank all of you. We'll see you next time on To Tell the Truth. So long.
Climb aboard the GSN time machine and flash back to that 70s hour. Join the Match Game posse in a celebration of 70s sophistication.
Do we have a literary crowd or what's happening here?
Check out that 70s hour. 1 full hour of Match Game tonight at 11, only on GSN.